There are some breathless reports being published that say that North Korean leader Kim Jong-un has agreed to meet Donald Trump at the DMZ, which is the demilitarized zone right at the border between North and South Korea on the Korean Peninsula. And much like other North Korea related news, it's being reported as if this is some major unbelievable development. But wasn't it always sort of obvious that that's where Kim Jong-un would want to meet Donald Trump more than likely? We talked at the very beginning of the sort of possibility of this summit taking place about how Kim Jong-un said that he's willing to meet with President Trump as if it was big news. North Korean leaders have been desperate to get in the same room as American presidents in order to elevate their perceived status going back a very, very long time. It wasn't news. And along the same lines, this time, the notion that it's big news that Kim Jong-un would be willing to have the meeting at the DMZ really isn't news. And Trump has been tweeting about this. Yesterday, he tweeted, numerous countries are being considered for the meeting, but would Peace House slash Freedom House on the border of North and South Korea be a more representative, important, and lasting site than a third-party country? Just asking. The other idea was Singapore. Singapore is a place that might not be obvious why you would have the meeting in Singapore, but Singapore is a place where the American military has a presence, but there's also a diplomatic relationship between Singapore and North Korea, as well as a North Korean embassy. So it's one of a sort of smaller subset of places that would meet both of those requirements. But from a logistics perspective, it's pretty logical for Kim Jong-un to want to meet at the DMZ, right? It allows his team to get set up for the meeting without dealing with the possible diplomatic, I guess we can call them complexities of traveling around the world to different places where the relationship with North Korea may not be quite so good. But really, it's the PR and the propaganda value here, combined with Kim Jong-un's maybe paranoia that someone might try to do something to him if he went somewhere else. That immediately pointed to the DMZ as the place where Kim Jong-un would want to meet. And that's the thing about a meeting at the DMZ, because it makes it so that whatever comes out of the meeting, getting Donald Trump there, getting him maybe to step over the line from South to North Korea and shake hands with Kim Jong-un, the propaganda value, the self-aggrandizing value of that for Kim Jong-un is absolutely huge. And quite frankly, it's huge for Trump as well, right? Trump would love to have video of himself doing this, going to the DMZ, stepping over the line, shaking hands with Kim Jong-un, regardless of what actually is even agreed to in principle at the meeting, and regardless of what actually happens longer term, which we've talked about. No matter what's agreed to at the meeting, we actually have to see what the follow-through is, because there's a long history of talk and no real action, or not the action that we're hoping for. That would be huge for Trump as well. And not that this is my primary concern. Would the Secret Service be okay with a meeting at the DMZ? I mean, they like to get in, clear the entire surrounding area from where the president will be. As far as we know, it's hard to imagine Kim Jong-un saying, Secret Service, sure, come into the North Korean side and control access to the border area. How do they prevent, for example, I don't know, a North Korean sniper from having a clear view of Trump during this meeting? So obviously, there's no doubt that trying to kill the president, if you're North Korea, would be immediate suicide. I'm not saying they would do it, but I'm explaining why security concerns for Secret Service would be significant in terms of a meeting at the DMZ. But the fact that we're talking about a meeting between an American president and a North Korean leader at the DMZ is already huge. That, I think, is really the most important thing. We talked yesterday, how much credit does Trump deserve? We're not going to rehash that today, and I think a lot of that will sort of be known in retrospect. But I am actually finding this to be one of the most interesting geopolitical stories, and it's not a value judgment of Trump in any way. Regardless, this is going to be a fascinating month.
Do you think that this could get Donald Trump the Nobel Peace Prize? Trumpists are talking about that. Even the South Korean president is talking about that. It's an interesting idea to float, but I don't know. We'll have to see.
It's funny how Trumpists are all about America first and only our opinion matters, until South Korea now thinks that Trump is responsible for the progress that's been made. And we know that South Korea is one of, in the entire world, is one of the most pro-Trump countries. And I would wait until we have more information before jumping in with South Korea on that. I think I would also wait on the Nobel Peace Prize. I think, again, it would depend on what is Trump's actual involvement and responsibility here, which we don't know.
Well, after the Camp David Accords, Begin and Sadat shared the Nobel Peace Prize. Jimmy Carter didn't get it. So if there's any precedent there that you could read from that, I don't think Donald Trump stands to gain.
Right. It would be, I guess, I mean, can you
Kim
imagine
Jong-un,
Kim Jong-un with a Nobel Peace Prize? Will Trump do a classic handshake power move like he's done with others and physically pull Kim Jong-un over to the South Korean side? Then all of a sudden, North Korean soldiers will grab Kim Jong-un's ankles and pull him back into North Korean territory. That would be some great video. So the month of May is going to be crazy. I'm glad we have no vacations scheduled in May other than Memorial Day weekend and a 3-week break starting next week. So other than that, we'll be here the entire time. No, I'm kidding. We actually will be here and covering the summit and everything else that comes from it. The video you just finished watching was made possible by you through the membership program. You can sign up for membership at davidpakman.com/membership. We are viewer-supported independent media. You can use the coupon code IVOTED17 for a 40% discount off of your membership.